as you see by the title of this video, I am wading into the controversy, the ongoing controversy that's surrounding the new She-Ra cartoon on Netflix. Now, before I get into it, this will be ironic in a bit. I have to do my own shilling because I'm bad at it. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. If you like this sort of analysis, it really helps a lot. Kick me a few bucks. Mwah, I appreciate it. Because one thing that fascinates me about the internet as someone who, used to have to pitch stories and justify the newsworthiness of something as I adjust my bra, was that there actually had to be a news angle for you to take time and assumedly your outlet's money to investigate a story. But that's not the way internet news works anymore. It's generate as many clicks as possible with as little work as possible. And so a lot of non-news things turn into news. Now, full disclosure, I have not seen the She-Ra show, the new She-Ra show. I didn't even like She-Ra when I was a kid. I am a hardcore He-Man toy collector, but I only have one She-Ra toy, a Starburst Swiftwind that somebody gave me as a gift, and I thought it was kind of cool because it was see-through. Now, I would have thought it was cooler if you could actually see the horse's internal organs, but we can't have everything. That was the one She-Ra thing I liked. It was kind of cool because it was see-through. But in general, I just wasn't feeling the She-Ra. I thought that He-Man was a lot cooler, and that's fine because She-Ra was created for more typical girls who found that He-Man was not so much to their taste. It was a cheaply made derivative show made for kids in the 1980s to sell toys. Fast forward to 2018, we have a cheaply made derivative show made for kids of 2018 to try to sell Netflix subscriptions. That's my opinion on the whole thing, and that's why I haven't watched it. If I have nothing to do on a given day and and I need something on in the background, I may turn it on. That's actually how I started watching Breaking Bad. Because I tried to watch Breaking Bad like twice, really didn't like it. And still am not the biggest fan of it. I liked the first 2 seasons of Better Call Saul a lot more. This is just giving you a barometer of my tastes. They are not typical. And that's fine because everyone's entitled to their opinion. Now, this is a really important statement going forward because this particular story got weird fast. I'm going to switch over here. It started, this is the wrong thing. There we go, before I switch over. So it started with a site called One Angry Gamer that has actually given me some positive coverage in the past. Full disclosure. Puts out this, I think, rather cleverly clickbait headline. Netflix's She-Ra turns Spinnerella fat and gives her the power to break wind. I laughed. I don't care, but I laughed, and you click to the story, and it's the basic idea is that the social justice warrior agenda is attempting to produce material designed to appease NPCs, and that the new She-Ra Princess of Power is headcanon of Tumblr artists brought to life through Netflix. It is completely opinion. It would be nice if it was marked opinion, because One Angry Gamer has done some decent news. And it's too bad because, separate your news from opinion. I don't agree that this is some big political crusade. I think it's a shameless way to make money. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. There's nothing wrong with this. Now, I believe the focus on Spinnerella was just because they did if I fade back again, you see they did like a little character bio. So in isolation, it seems like, my first thought was, well, is she the only character that is plus size because of she is. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Nobody wants to be the chubbiest of her friends by a long shot. It tends to create feelings of self-loathing. But if you look at the cast, I believe Glimmer is sort of stocky. There's a real diversity of body types. I'm not a fan of the art style. I'm not a fan of the stuff that is popular right now. They all look like they like ate a whole bunch of My Little Pony and then shit an enema. And they're copying something without really understanding why the modern My Little Pony worked. But it doesn't have to be for me. If this is what kids now like, if this is the cheap animation of today, I'm not going to criticize it. Hello, Momo. Do you want to come and join in? Momo? Yeah. Oh, no. Okay. Momo doesn't want to come in. Okay, I'll be with you in a minute, Momo. The animation in the original She-Ra Princess of Power was no great shakes, so I'm not going to condemn it on that point. That's the mature response, I think. But that's not what every outlet did observe. This is the Daily Dot. Twitter is dunking on this Gamergate writer who thinks She-Ra character is fat. And you go through the link. Man on internet wants to know why She-Ra character wasn't made attractive enough for him. Now, whoops, this is poorly framed. Let me cut back. Now, here's the thing. Twitter is neither of these headlines are newsworthy. The term Gamergate is going to stir people up more than some dude on the internet doesn't like something. But if you want to see how newsworthy this actually is, look at the actual full headline they used. Man on internet wants to know why She-Ra character wasn't made attractive enough for him. That is about as newsworthy as man on construction site eats sandwich out of a lunchbox. It's not newsworthy. They used the Gamergate bait to try to turn something newsworthy that just isn't. This is internet filler. This is, the cheese you put on the side of your car to hide the fact that it's a rusted hunk of junk. Who cares what a guy with a gaming website thinks about She-Ra? Well, nobody. So they put the angle on it that it's Gamergate to make people care. You're back, Momo. Do you want to come up? Here's the Momos. Momo is shaped kind of like Spinnerella, aren't you, Momo? Yes. So we are body positive in this house. Yes, baby. So I want to take one more angle on this because this is the part that made me realize, wait a minute, there's actually something newsworthy in here. But it ain't what the Daily Dot claims. It's the Daily Dot's reaction. And I didn't want to get into this. I have better things to do. But I actually have a problem with what the Daily Dot did, okay? Twitter is dunking on this Gamergate writer who thinks She-Ra character is fat. Let's use the replacement method that, my misguided youth and gender studies taught me is the way to determine whether something is sexist. You take a statement, substitute the other gender equivalent, and see how it sounds. So we'll take that one and go, Twitter is dunking on Anita Sarkeesian, who thinks She-Ra character is a slut. Would this seem as triumphant? Would this be seen as one for the good guys? No, it would be seen as online harassment. She has her opinion. She's entitled to her opinion. Why are you picking on her? We cannot have a double standard just for people we don't like. We can't condemn the overall problem of online harassment and say, oh, it's okay when it happens to people who are part of movements or causes that we find repellent. Either it's okay to do, it is humane treatment, or it is not okay to do. You can't pick and choose this way. And unfortunately, too many people do. And I'm really tired of it. I mean, I'm working on the backers only episode of Lady Bits and, trying to suggest some ways to make this kind of thing go over smoother. And so maybe I'm just like really in the zone about this, but dunking on someone over an opinion about not liking a cartoon? Yeah, that's a great reason to pile on somebody. Oh, he doesn't like something. Now, I really don't think One Angry Gamer cares. I think he's probably laughing all the way to the bank based on all the extra traffic this has gotten him. And I know, I'm promoting his site as well. But hey, he's given me coverage, both positive and sometimes critical. I haven't agreed with the criticism. I have not thought it was unfair. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. And the thing is, whether you like the word fat or not, I think it's harsh. But it isn't about whether he thinks Spinnerella is fat. Spinnerella is objectively overweight. There she is. She's not just curvy. She's probably got a body mass index outside what is considered healthy. And I had a really interesting discussion with somebody who was concerned that normalizing child obesity isn't a good idea. And they're apparently late teenagers. I don't know. I look at She-Ra and she looks 12, but apparently she's like 8 feet tall when she's She-Ra. And I don't know. I don't understand the show. The art style looks like vomit. I don't, it's not my thing. So I stay away. Now, do you notice I said off the top that it's not for me, I stay away? Well, I was never a fan of the original. It was never for me. And this is the other thing that I got to thinking about. And it's like, interesting conundrum. This idea of who a nostalgia-driven brand is for. Is it for the kids of a given era? Or should it be for both the adults that grew up with this show and the kids of today? And I think the smarter play is to make it accessible for both. Like the thing that made My Little Pony work is that people like me who still have the friggin' Sea Pony song stuck in my head since about 1984, shoo-be-doo, shoo-shoo-be-doo, shoo-be-doo, shoo-shoo-be-doo, call on the Sea Ponies when you're in distress. That one? Stuck in my head from when I saw it on TV decades ago. I can still watch modern My Little Pony, and yeah, it's different. It's a marketed improvement, but it's still the same basic thing, right? It's still friendship is magic. What will today's adventure be? It's like My Little Pony with more of an edge. It doesn't feel completely unfamiliar. Whereas it seems like fans of the original She-Ra, people that have nostalgia, people that have some element of their identity rooted in this show, are not happy with the changes. And I can see that because it went from an aspirational thing to an affirmational thing, meaning, oh, this is these are the beautiful, powerful, heroic women, and gay man, sorry, Bo, that's just the fan joke, that you can be when you grow up, to you're good just as you are right now. It's a different perspective, especially when it comes to advertising. And so even that one shift alone could really change, because if somebody's watching a show, they want to see heroes that are better than them. They don't want to feel like they're settling. I don't necessarily agree. I'm just saying this is the thinking. Versus people who do want that affirming, I want heroes like me attitude. Now that is a real difference from the cartoons of the 80s to the cartoons of now. The cartoons of the 80s were all about putting teenagers in it, so it was like near aspirational. So it was, Lion-O's a kid whose stasis chamber broke, and so he's in the body of an adult, but he's actually kind of a younger teenager. Prince Adam was about 16 years old, but then he became He-Man, that kind of thing. Adora and She-Ra were the same way, but they weren't, the 8 to 10-year-olds. The toys were aimed at. They were older. Now it's kind of the same thing, but kind of, sort of. It's got to be at the kid level. Trying to pitch an animation nowadays it's this gauntlet full of poo, and you end up with like 16 types of poo on you, and there's no way to get through that gauntlet of poo with your vision intact, like your creative vision intact. So I don't blame the creators of She-Ra. They probably had to make a lot of compromises just to get this thing made. That's just the reality of animation, because it's relatively expensive and there's a short, narrow window of return on it. The thing that the Filmation cartoons had going for it was designed to sell toys. So it could be sort of a loss leader, but, now it's Netflix subscriptions. I think they think they're saturated on men, and so they want to get parents of little girls, maybe who grew up with She-Ra, to buy those subscriptions. That they need the people who aren't yet buying Netflix to buy Netflix. And I don't know if this is going to do it. I am a poor judge of it because I didn't like the original. Now, I have found a surprising number of guys out there, heterosexual guys and gay guys alike, who are very, very attached to the original. Now, there's a real diversity of opinion on how they feel about the new one. The people who are sort of closer to my opinion, that they admit they liked the cartoon as a kid, but now as an adult, they see it wasn't very good, think the new one is an improvement. Other people either hate the new one because they don't like the art style, and they watched it anyway and they're really, really mad, or they haven't watched it and they just don't like it because it's too much of a change. And I really think that people who were fans, legitimate fans of the original, deserve to have an opinion. They deserve to have their say. And unfortunately, too many of these guys are being dismissed as just horn dogs who think, what is it? It's that the characters aren't being made attractive enough for them. And this gets into a form of feminist analysis, the idea of gaze theory, that men on internet wants to know why She-Ra character wasn't made attractive enough for him. I'm becoming less and less enamored of this sort of gaze theory as I become more of a proponent of performative gaze theory. The idea that people who are, gamers predominantly, which, one angry gamer, right? Even their gaze is performative. They engage with media by interacting with media. So there's an element of themselves. There's an element of performance, which is more closely linked to identity than just being a passive observer. And I think that's extremely important, because somebody who's coming through something as a performative gaze, yes, you're looking at it, but you're also interacting with the thing you're looking at. There is some transfer of self into that material. It means that there was something about these beautiful girls marketed at kids in She-Ra that spoke to them somehow. And that's not from a position of, I want a harem of beautiful women to call my cock Swiftwind. Sorry, went for the metaphor, failed. But it's more either these were the friends they wanted back then and didn't have, or it felt safe somehow. It felt nurturing. It felt there's a much more tender in-group feeling. It's not the feeling that they are this man in control of these women who must serve their every whim. These women form almost like a protective quality. They have this protective element. There's something about this stuff that made younger angry gamer of today feel safe. And it could just be pretty girls are pretty and that made them feel good. But that's not the same as objectifying them. That's giving them inherent value as a human being. If somebody feels like pretty girls are pretty and that makes me feel good, they're more likely to do things to like make those pretty girls like them, so they sort of earn their place near the pretty girls so they can hang around more and get more pretty. As opposed to, you are my slave, I own you, you are an object, you must do what I say. It's not the same mindset at all. And I really do think that these She-Ra fans just, they don't realize what they're sounding like. I think One Angry Gamer may have been trolling for clicks a little bit, which, that's the business, I get it. But I have talked to a lot of people who just feel like the inclusion was overdone on She-Ra. Now, I personally think that certain designs, I think Shadow Weaver looks badass. I think Frosta was a really clever reimagining. Frosta was one of my favorite She-Ra characters, even though I didn't like She-Ra at all. I thought Frosta was kind of cool looking. I had a thing for characters with white or blue hair back then. I have no idea why. Maybe because it's the exact opposite of mine. But like Aja on Gem, though I loved all of Gem. Gem was like the only girl thing other than My Little Pony that I liked. But you know, I liked Frosta. I liked Catra. So I liked Catra's like this. But I mean, making Catra the bad guy, like making Catra the rival, catty women like that, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I always just thought Catra was kind of cool looking too. But I liked characters with black hair too. My favorite misfit on Gem was Jeddah. You know, the one that played the saxophone with the British accent, who was like, you know, came in like season 3 or something like that. Anyway, enough about my preferences. I think that we need to be able to make space for people to not like the new show without just dismissing them as sexist. But also put a limit on how much outrage is stoked surrounding this new show. Because, like it or not, agree with it or not, this show is clearly not made for fans of the original. It's made for the kids of today. And like I said, I'm not sure I'd go with that. I'd make it more for both, like My Little Pony did, but they've made their creative choice. You can disagree with that creative choice, but if you like the original, you still have the original, you can still watch the original. That hasn't been taken from you. So I don't think that, you know, One Angry Gamer is losing too much sleep over this, but some people are. They're really fighting to the death about it. And, you know, I think it is fair to kind of wonder what is so personal about this for those people that they're wasting so much time and energy on a cartoon. And I love my cartoons, but it's a cartoon and it's cheaply made on a streaming service at that. So I'm curious at what people have to say. That's my take. It actually ended up being far more interesting than I originally thought it would be. And that's because I was open to hearing different opinions and didn't just shut them down as that's sexist or you're making too big a deal about it or anything like that. Talking to people can learn you a thing or two. All right. Thanks for watching.